Okay, so here at Expo 2015, I want to show you some of the additional sites beyond the Italian Pavilion. So let's go around and take a look. Okay, so to begin this tour, I wanted to give you some of the informational literature here from the Milan 2015 Expo guidebook. So basically the point here is they're trying to establish the Italian experience, the Italian cultural identities by focusing not just on one pavilion, which you see here, and be sure to check out the video I do on the Italian pavilion itself. What they're trying to suggest is that they're spreading it out over the entire Cardo area, the entire area of the street that basically intersects the main road that connects all the pavilions together. And this describes some of the goals here. And I think one of the points was to say that they want to not maybe have symbolically all of the Italian identities and cultural regions located in one pavilion. You should also note that the Tree of Life itself is also part of the Italian pavilion area, which I didn't quite grasp initially, but then as I was reading more of the literature, it became kind of clear. To me, this was the symbol of the Expo 2015 in Milan, and I think every Expo has symbolic architecture, and I'll certainly talk about that in other videos as well. One might argue that maybe the Tree of Life isn't dramatic as some of the iconic symbolic architecture of previous expos, but that's probably for another matter or another video. You can see here then they talk about how the route along this whole Italian arena area was conceived. And again, I think the idea was that they wanted to capture the diversity of different regions. They didn't want to suggest that there was only one structure that could encompass all of the Italian regions and identities and cultures and so forth. And in fact, when you see inside in my other video the Italian pavilion itself, you'll realize that even within there, they struggle to suggest that there is, just one Italian identity. Certainly they talk about a diversity of cultures. So this shows you then, you can grasp maybe how large this area is going from the north Lake Arena to the south. And then this here is zooming in a bit and showing you a little more detail. You can identify then how many different smaller pavilions or restaurants or corporate entities are located within this entire Italian region. And perhaps to confuse things just a bit, outside of the Italian area, you're going to see representations such as this one, the Italian food experience, that are also part of Italian food and culture. And I'll show you just some of the slides here of that particular pavilion. And it just became confusing to me as a guest, only because these were additional reflections of Italian identity, not unlike you're going to see in the wine experience, which is within the official Italian pavilion region, but it's outside of the area, so suggesting maybe it has more of a corporate focus. And here's my reflection then a little bit on this pavilion. I'll show you some images now inside this pavilion here, and in keeping with this theme of focusing on the corporate and branded aspects of the World Expo, I think you'll find this particular pavilion on the Italian food experience, as you'll see coming up here on the right, to be quite intriguing. Inside there's everything from all kinds of products, wine, rice, begins with cheeses, and incredibly massive, very labyrinthine structure that I walked through for some time. And I think one of the curious things about it is when you think about the brands and the consumer products and all these things in the context of some of the other pavilions, I think one of the questions that comes up is it possible to distinguish between the corporate entities and the non-corporate entities? And I think it raises some interesting questions when we talk about the presentation of information, the context here at the World Expo. So certainly something to think about. Okay, but let us leave this food experience pavilion and let me take you through some of the regions then in the official Italian pavilion regional areas. I won't cover all of them, but I'll try to cover as many as I can here. Over here, you can order. People have trays of salami tasting. Basically, they cut it fresh there. I had a chance to go inside there yesterday. Here, I don't know what this is. I guess we can take a look. Oh, it's just eating on the terrace. Calabria. Okay, so in the smaller pavilions, there's a range of different opportunities. Just going to look at this here. It looks like just for the oh yeah, sure enough. So just for the Expo. This is I guess a feature on all the things available. Just taking a look at it here. Just speaks of the diversity of culture and places and people and so forth. But you know, there's a range then that you get of the virtual stuff. Over here you have some boards that you can interact with, and then there's also some Oculus virtual reality stuff, which is kind of fairly popular here at the Expo. You may have noted in some of the other videos. Very small spaces for sure. Muted, but I think the point is to give a separation of space so as to symbolically identify the fact that you know, there's much diversity in Italy, and thus not having just one main pavilion. So we can look at it a bit more here. this was actually fascinating in Umbria. The focus was on the development of a font that is being refined over the years based on the work of monks and the typesetting that was done then. And then today they have, as you'll see in the video, some 3D printers where they're perfecting this. So pretty interesting and very specific. So I like the focus of this part of the regional Italian pavilion. Taking the incredible view up here at the top of the Tyrol area of the Italian Pavilion Street. Amazing views. And here are just a few more images of the Tyrol area. Again, this is the area where a lot of Italian and Austrian culture mix, so you can certainly get your strudel here and other delicacies. And I like their shout out here to the selfie tradition as well. I thought this was one of the coolest parts of the regional pavilion area. Okay, and this part of the Italian street of the pavilion seems a little more corporate focus. Pellegrino has the booth here, really nicely done if you look at the video and the lounge kind of feel that they've created there. But these appear to be fairly corporate. Lavazza coffee, which I've had in Vegas, so it is kind of a famous Italian coffee. Yeah, so very much a branded section here. Definitely innovative space here at the Italian wine experience, not unlike Future Food. The difference here is you have hundreds of wines and you have information. They're all organized by regions, and you can basically get one of those cards that they have in a lot of wine bars now that allow you to just taste all you want, and you can get some salami and so forth. So pretty cool here at the Italian wine experience. I hope you enjoyed the video feature today. Here looking at a few of the mini pavilions along the Italian pavilion area, focusing on all the regional identities and culinary traditions and different cultural aspects that we see in terms of the diversity of Italy. And perhaps it's a reminder that in all cultures, in all regions, there's more diversity and heterogeneity than there is homogeneity. So please come back for additional video features of the Immersive Worlds Handbook.